Yeah, definitely. So for anyone listening today, if you feel challenged, I know there's a lot of people who don't like reading books or maybe listening to books. Definitely try to engage in person with your community, the Chamber of Commerce. Try to attend seminars and workshops if that's more your thing. I do both. So I listen to the audibles, but I also go to conferences for personal development and business development constantly. You have to go above and beyond.
Welcome to Clicks and Bricks Podcast. We talk about the entrepreneur mindset.
If you get one shot at this, what kind of shot are you going to take?
If we forget who we are, they're going to forget who you are.
And you've got an adversity story that's out of this world.
Everything from that Main Street brick and mortar to that billion-dollar manufacturer.
Today we get to hear the story of Z from Z the Cook about how she decided to go from nursing, took a little bit of a break, and found her passion with cooking. How are you doing today, Z?
Doing good. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you for joining us. Can you tell the audience, before we jump in, can you give the audience a little bit about your history and what it is that you do today?
Yeah, thank you so much. So my history is I started off at a very young age, just being a natural born entrepreneur. I was kind of the leader of my neighborhood when I was growing up, and I used to go to the fruit market and buy a bunch of candy and sell it for double the price. Being an entrepreneur is something I've always, loved doing, and I knew that when I grew up, I wanted to own a business, but I didn't know what kind of business I would own. So in order to discover more about myself and my interests, I knew that traditional school wasn't what I like, wasn't something that I'd find myself, just being able to like decide like doctor, teacher, nurse, you hear those things all the time. I just wanted something really different and unique. So I started working at 14 years old in an office setting in a real estate agency. And as a secretary at 14, just, answering calls, taking down messages. And then I ventured off to, when I was of age, to a flower shop, and I was creating floral arrangements and, great creativity over there. So I was learning administrative skills at a young age and then creative skills. And then I carried on when I was 18 and worked for United Airlines. And at the airlines, I learned a lot about professionalism in the corporate world. And then I ended up working at a doctor's office. So I went through a lot of experiences at a young age, just to find out where my passion is and where I find myself as an entrepreneur, as a young entrepreneur. And I worked at a doctor's office and I really enjoyed it a lot. I enjoyed caring for people and taking care of others. So I ended up going into nursing. So I went to nursing school and I completed 2 of the 4 years. And as I was doing some internships at a hospital, I found myself just not being too comfortable in the setting of the hospital. I knew I wanted to take care of people, and I knew I wanted to impact people's lives for the better. I knew I wanted to make a difference in the world, but I didn't feel like I was in the right spot. I kind of remembered, for whatever reason, I remembered, Z, if you're an entrepreneur and here you are at nursing school investing money, time, and energy, and you're going to end up in a most likely hospital setting, that's not you, that's not who you are. So I needed to step away from that for a second and take a break. So I stopped nursing school. I decided I would not continue to invest my money and my time and my studying, lots of exams. And I decided to step away from work and from school. And I found myself in the kitchen, and I found a beautiful passion of cooking for the people that I love. And I was able to use my creative skills in the kitchen. I was able to use a lot of my just organizational skills in the kitchen, and I found a beautiful passion. I started to share that on social media. And before you know it, I started teaching people how to cook from the heart.
Fantastic. So what year was it that you started doing this from home in the kitchen, just taking pictures of the food that you're cooking? What year was that?
It was 2015.
So 7 years ago now is when you start this new passion. And when you first started doing it, you didn't know this was a business, right?
Correct. Yeah. The goal was not business driven. It was passion driven, right? I found a passion. This is fun. Let me teach people how to cook from the heart, just like I do. I hated writing recipes. I don't remember how much salt I put in a recipe because I I really am very old school in the sense of like how your old, your grandma would like grab a bunch of ingredients and she'll figure out any dish you can imagine.
Right.
Just kind of like that. So I took it back to the heart. We're not here it's not about the meal, it's about delivering a message, right? It's about communicating love, right? So I was teaching people and I said, you can take the notes as I'm teaching you. And they were coming to my home kitchen. And before you know it, it became a business.
Right. Now, you're a self-taught cook, right? Is the difference between a cook and a chef self-taught or school-taught? Is that really the only difference?
With respect to chefs who went to culinary school, I will say yes, because they would not like to hear a different answer from that. They have invested their money, their time, their attention to understanding terminology and chemistry, and so I don't want to say this. We are not equals. We have a different flavor at the table. The chefs, they're bringing a lot of that book work, a lot of heart as well. Don't get me wrong. I'm coming from more of a creative mindset, more of a fun atmosphere. Let's cook, let's make this light. It's not too serious. We're not here to like make anything serious. We're here to have fun. We're here to build relationships with other people when we're cooking with other people and enjoying meals together. So overall, for me as a cook, I'm teaching other people how to cook from the heart and enjoy it while they're in the kitchen, not to get too serious.
Absolutely. So I think this is an important topic for a lot of people and I hire all kinds of people for different kinds of jobs, so HR jobs, technical jobs, fitness jobs, all kinds of things. And when I'm looking at college educated or potential employees, I know that they know how to be taught, right? But it's a different skill set if you know how to teach yourself. And that's very, very important. And you were able to do that. So you taught yourself how to cook. Did you lean on some academics to help you learn how to do this, like YouTube, or did you take some courses in college, or is this 100% self-taught?
Obviously, you're always going to need to find some inspiration somewhere. So Google was one of my best friends, don't get me wrong. So yeah, there are times where I would be challenged. I didn't go to school for this. There's some challenges. I need to understand certain terms. I need to understand certain measurements, So I definitely would acquire that on my own. I knew for myself, I wasn't going to go back to school. I just wanted to work. I wanted to build build this passion of mine and make it something big. And I didn't want to waste any more time in my life. So I had to educate myself. Yes, I would use the internet. And again, when I say educate, I was using it as a base. It wasn't like telling me everything I needed. It just gave me a base to step, as a seed that I was kind of, nourishing. And then I took it to whatever places that it needed to go. And I also had to educate myself on business, right? So as soon as I realized, wow, this has the potential of becoming something really big, I started to read a lot of business books. I've always been a big reader. So that helped me out a lot. So I would educate myself on business. I would consult with accountants and attorneys. In the beginning, it wasn't easy, but I took it step by step and I couldn't really afford it at the time. So I would actually just like go slow. I didn't go in too fast. I knew where the goal was. I knew what I wanted to do, but I took my time and I allowed it to manifest into my life by just doing the right things, the education, reading, learning, applying that in my own kitchen, testing things out, trial and error. So as a young entrepreneur, there was a lot of trial and error. There was a lot of challenges, but I went through them and they took me far. Just never giving up was the goal.
Well, congratulations on having the tenacity to push through all of that. I know that there's lots of challenges in front of every small business owner as they're growing. Now, you started in your home kitchen, you have some clients, they're coming over and you're teaching them how to cook in your home kitchen. And that grows to the point where you have to make the jump because it's not sustainable or you can't grow anymore in your current facility. And you made that jump to having basically a rent, right? You had to now rent another location that people can come in and out of. You don't want everybody in your home. What were some of the thoughts that you had, or maybe doubts that you might have had when you were putting your name on the line for that mortgage? And did you have to take a personal guarantee, or were you able to just guarantee it by the business assets? Can you tell the audience a little bit about what that transition was like, going from a home-based business to now you're a brick and mortar business?
For sure, for sure. Great question. So I did not have enough history or credit history to actually get a loan. So that did not go well. I created a business plan, went through it a few times with different, colleague or business owners, other business owners, just to kind of get other people, mentors to help me. So I actually applied for a loan. I didn't get it. They told me it was still too soon. You don't have enough to show us that this is definitely going to work out. So that did not work out. And then I applied for credit cards. Those worked out. So I had to use a lot of credit cards. And I took a small personal loan from a family member, which I paid back within a year. But that was helpful. So those payments, like the credit cards and the little loan from a family member, that's what helped me pick up and get started. And by the way, as this transition was happening, I was still doing this. I was still working from home and literally doing 6 events a weekend. So 3 on a Saturday back to back, 3 on Sunday back to back. And we're talking hosting different recipes, different themes, different customers coming. So it was around the clock. Honestly, it's not really legal to operate out of your house. It's not. And I knew at the time what I needed to do. So by the way, it wasn't my choice to go into a building. It was my customers. They were the ones telling me, wow, this would be a great opportunity for a field trip if it wasn't in your house, or this would be a great opportunity for my teammates and I to come together and do a corporate event together, but you don't have a building. And so as you're working with your passion and as you're doing what you love, the money's coming in on it. The money is just coming in. It's again, I'm going to be using that word manifestation, but it's manifesting because you're working from the heart. You're doing something great. You work hard. You're educating yourself. You're doing all the right things, and you are being very authentic.
Yes. Jump and the net will appear, right? So you make the transition. Now you're a brick and mortar storefront. You've got all these new challenges in front of you, right? New level, new devil. You've got now mortgage, you got new insurance, all of these things. It's overwhelming. The business is good. You're growing.
Exactly. This is all happening. And at the exact same time, I'm hosting. I mean, I was nonstop.
And then March of 2020 comes along and the government says you have to shut down this building that you've invested everything into. What do?
I had about 14 employees at the time when COVID hit. And I told everyone, and by the way, at the time we were contracted with Ford Motor Company here in Detroit at the world headquarters. And my brand was actually serving food to the Ford employees at the time. So my business, over time, was receiving awards, recognition. I was on stages and then I was meeting the right people. And so during this journey, as you're meeting good people and people who actually believe in you, all of a sudden new opportunities and new doors are opening. So not only was I a brick and mortar and teaching kids, teens, and adults how to cook and doing these team building, relationship building events, now all of a sudden people wanted my brand and my structure in their corporate worlds, So now I'm actually hosting events at the world headquarters for the Ford employees out of the Ford kitchens. And so the day that COVID hit, my staff called me and they said, they're asking us to go home. There's some kind of virus. We just put all the food out that we cooked for 3 or 4 hours and it's still hot. Nobody's been here yet in the cafeteria. And I said, what do you mean pack up and go? They said, pack up and leave. And I was like, oh my God. And I said, don't worry, we'll be back in the next 2 days. We're going to be fine. So I was in denial for maybe 2 weeks. I wasn't happy. I was really stressed out. I said, there's no way in the world. I put in all this heart and energy. And I was one of the first people who had to close because my company brings people together. And now this virus is saying people cannot get together. And I said, oh God, the last thing I'm going to do is go virtual. Virtual will never deliver the message of building relationships. That was my mind, going virtual is not going to make us feel together. Going virtual is going to challenge me in ways I want to be around people. But I took about another 2 weeks. So now we're talking 4 weeks through and we're not operating. We're not making money. We're losing so much money. We still have so many bills to pay. And I said, okay, Z, it's time to get uncomfortable and do something you never thought you would do and host virtual events. And so I started to announce this to my subscribers and to my community. And it was a little hard at first because they didn't want to pay. They only wanted to pay like $10 to attend. And, I needed money to pay the bills. So, I did what I had to do in the beginning. It was cheaper. It was affordable to the community. And then I realized, oh my God, these corporations have employees at home. They're all apart for God knows how much longer. Why don't I bring on a corporate client like Ford Motor Company and host a virtual event for them? And they're the ones who have usually wellness funds or money to use to pay towards, their overall teams and their team building. So that ended up being an amazing new revenue stream for my company, where I thought everything was going downhill and it twisted around, and it actually makes me more money than my in-person events, So it was kind of a blessing in a sense. I mean, obviously nobody wants a virus. None of us want it. I mean, I wish we can take it back and not have this virus because it's never going away now. But I was challenged with COVID, and I was able to discover a new revenue stream. So now we host, and we still do today.
Fantastic. Congratulations on that too. That's a big move to understand that you can do a low cost version for the individual, or you can target the business that's going to pay for 500 or 5,000 different users all at the same time. And the companies have an interest because they want happy, healthy employees, right? And
Yes.
now if you're at home and you're sedentary for those 8 hours, you're not even getting up and going to work. So
Right.
your exercise is way reduced. They're sitting at home. They need to have healthy meals, and they have to have happy, fun things in their life. And it's really, really important. If you don't have happy, healthy employees,
Exactly.
then you don't have a company at the end of the day, right? Because they're all going to leave and you're just out of luck. So congratulations on figuring that out. It's a huge jump.
Thank you so much. And it always reminds me, again, for the books that I was reading and the knowledge that I was learning, it's almost like it was preparing me for this challenge, in regards to the mindset that, hey, get out of your comfort zone. When you're too comfortable, you're not growing, right? So
Absolutely.
I knew I was equipped with the mindset that it's okay, Z, this is a challenge. It's here for a reason. Grow from it. Don't drown. Don't let it drown you, because here's all these other businesses closing down, losing their businesses. I don't know, God knows what else. They could have even, by the way, went to business school, but they didn't go through what maybe I went through, how I self-motivated, self-inspired, read the books, knew the knowledge, did the work, put in the heart, put in the time, So again, when it comes from the heart, it's just not on the surface. It's so deep that nothing can destroy it, So I'm very grateful and blessed to say that we've made it.
Absolutely. So you're a huge fan of self-education and continued growth and continued education. What are the 4 books that you would recommend any entrepreneur to read if they're looking to start a business or if they already have a business?
Great question. So there is a number one book that I always recommend to any new entrepreneur or friends who are opening up businesses. They're always asking me, how do you do this? How do you hustle so hard? You're always active. The first thing I want to say is, before the books enter your life, you need to have the will and the belief in yourself. Believing in yourself is number one. So you don't want to open the book and then give up halfway through, because you will if you don't believe in yourself. So first things first, believe in your potential, in your growth. You have to have, it's called the growth mindset. So your mindset already is welcoming new things and new knowledge, and then you're going to apply new knowledge in your life, and you're going to grow from that. So the first book that actually changed my life is called Be Obsessed or Be Average. And that book is by Grant Cardone, who is a sales king. And he's gone through a lot in his life, but the way that he shares the journey and the knowledge and the advice, it's a little bit aggressive, and it's very passionate. And I say aggressive as in not assertive, but actually aggressive, but in a very good way, because I found myself being too comfortable around the people who are around me. They're always telling me that what I'm doing is enough. They're always telling me that I need to not work as hard. But as an entrepreneur, that's not what you really need to hear. You need to hear someone telling you that you're not working enough and you need to work harder and you need to come up with new ideas and new strategies. So that was Grant Cardone in that book, Be Obsessed or Be Average. And I knew I did not want to be average. So that is a great book for anyone who does not want to live an average lifestyle and they really believe in themselves and their futures and they really want to be global. Like my mind is like, I need to get global. So when I read this book, I'm like, this is what's going to help me get global. So yes, that's a great one. A second one would also be by Grant Cardone, and he actually made this book before Be Obsessed or Be Average. It's called 10X Rule. And 10X Rule is all about 10Xing your life. So, you know, any way you think or any way you are financially making money, you want to always, you know, 10X that and equip yourself with future security. You know, so it teaches you a lot about thinking big, again, a little bit of that aggression and that perseverance mindset. So that's my second one. A third one is an Audible. You do need to hear the Audible because again, their voices is really what helps to inspire and push you harder. Obviously, you can read it for yourself all day, but I, as an entrepreneur, don't have time to sit down and read a book. So either I'm driving and listening or cooking and listening or, you know, organizing something and listening. So for me, Audibles is the way to go. It's called The Best of Les Brown. And it's an excellent book because he also shares his journey and he talks a lot about being underestimated by family members or friends or community, and it's part of the game. You know, this is part of growth. You're going to encounter a lot of people who underestimate you. You're going to encounter a lot of challenges and people who give you a label, and then you start believing that label and he tells you you're not supposed to be defined by anyone but yourself. And it's very purpose driven. So again, goes back to working from the heart and doing things with purpose, and then the money will come. So I never work for money. I work for impact, to make a difference. And, you know, that book really helps to remind you of the challenges that will be coming your way and how to address them. So again, when I was listening to these books, they may have been telling me things that I have not encountered yet. But when I started to encounter them, I already had the mindset, I already had the knowledge that Les Brown gave me or that Grant Cardone gave me. And I was able to apply them in moments of challenges and moments of weakness. You know, there's days as an entrepreneur, you want to give everything up and you just don't want to do it anymore. And you're thinking of like the easy exit. And that's when, you know, like there's something better at the, you know, the next day. So just don't give up. And then a fourth book, it's about money. And it's called You Are a Badass at Making Money. And that's by Jen Cincino. And it talks a lot about where you focus your energy, you attract, in the sense of people who have a fear of not having money or have a fear of not making enough money. They're constantly attracting that fear into their life. So that book really talks a lot about the financials. You know, you have to welcome money and have that extra layer of frequency that connects with financial success, you know, so that you can pay your bills, of course. So you have to have a good relationship with money, and you have to believe that you deserve it. You have to believe that you are worthy of it and that you need that in your life in order to give back more. So I really like the way that Jen describes that mindset, to have that great mindset, the power of attraction. So those are the 4 amazing books that really impacted my life as an entrepreneur.
Thank you for those books. I don't know. I think I have them all in my library. I'm not sure about the last one. And I'll definitely listen to them all again after this episode. Now, I try to listen to 2 or 3 books a month. And I have a very short commute to both of my offices that I go back. I have 3 offices that I go back, and my longest commute is about 15 minutes. So I don't have a whole lot of time in the car. So I listen to my books at like 1.3 speed. I can still get a good understanding of them at that speed. So I listen to most of my books when I'm flying. How many books a month do you think the average person should be trying to read if they want to really put some fuel on their fire in their life?
Realistically, 3. Definitely they can get away with 2. Again, I want to say realistically, because, you know, you don't want to just skim through 4 or 5 books, right? You want to you want to really sulk the knowledge in, right? You really want to comprehend what you're reading and sometimes just apply it as you go and just keep it really solid, you know? I still
Yes.
find myself, even with a huge list of Audible books, like over 70 of them, I
Right.
find myself still going back to the 4 books that I mentioned to you, because there are days where I am feeling like down as an entrepreneur, like, gosh, like, I'm stuck on something. I'm not feeling motivated. I'm just, you're having that burnout almost. And
Yes.
you're like, I know what I need today. I need Les Brown. Or I know what I need today. I need Grant Cardone. I don't care what chapter I end up on. I just click a chapter. Boom, he's fueling me. And I purposely go to a gym that's about 35 minutes away. And all my family and friends say, why do you go there? Like, why there? First of all, it's in the city. So it's in Detroit, downtown Detroit. I'm in
Right.
Metro Detroit. So I'm in Dearborn. But number one, it's a great gym. It's boxing. It's something that I love to do. And I know that morning when I'm driving to downtown Detroit into the city, I'm listening to my book. I am
Yes.
not, that's, you know what I mean? So when I say we're doing 2 things or 3 things at once and within an hour, that's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about fuel your brain, get ready to fuel your body, right? You got to get that workout in and
Yep.
really get yourself hyped up, and by 8:30 a.m., I'm ready for the day. I got the knowledge in, I got the workout in, and I'm up for the day. I'm ready to go.
Wonderful. I've had such a good time today talking with you, Z. Do you have anything you would like to leave the audience before we go today?
Yeah, definitely. So for anyone listening today, again, if you feel challenged, I know there's a lot of people who don't like reading books or maybe listening to books. Definitely try to engage in person with your community, the Chamber of Commerce. Try to attend seminars and workshops if that's more your thing. I do both. So I listen to the audibles, but I also go to conferences for personal development and business development constantly. You have to go above and beyond. You have to also surround yourself with positive people in your life. If you have any toxic environments around you or people around you, they are going to play a huge role in your overall success or growth. So definitely know what your dreams are, how to get there, and how to ensure that you are surrounded by the best of the best people, and you will definitely soar really high.
Wonderful. And if I have a company today and I wanted to give my employees a benefit, a fun, exciting thing to do together, how would I go about booking what your service as a corporate cooking class?
Yeah, great question. Thank you. So we offer these virtual or in person. So if you are a company or anyone, we'd love to have you. You could also book this virtually. It's amazing. We'll send you a list of ingredients that you'll need, set up a date and time, and you and your friends or employees can all get on screen at the scheduled time on Zoom, and we will be cooking together. And on my card, it says, feeling together while apart, reward your team. This is definitely a great reward, and it boosts your team's creativity. Cooking together will encourage teamwork, and it also inspires innovation. So at the end of the day, this isn't me here trying to just teach you foods or recipes. This is a tool that I use for the overall mission of Z the Cook, which is to build relationships, inspire teamwork, and build great memories.
Thank you so much for your time today, Z. I had a blast. That's it for today's show, folks. If you'd like to join my text line community, the number is 314-370-2871. The way you join that text line community is asking me any question about business or technology, and I'll give you an absolutely free, unbiased answer. Get to work.